welcome to another very special edition of KXLY 4 News. A half hour we've set aside to show you this beautiful place we get to call home, the Inland Northwest. We're glad you could join us. I'm Derek Dice.
And I'm Robin Nance. We are taking you across the area from the route of the Hiawatha to the Palouse Falls, from Harrison to the State Line Speedway, and give you a look at some familiar places from a new point of view.
And speaking of beautiful views, our area is full of them, and many times you don't have to travel far out of town to get to them. That's especially true for Tubbs Hill in Coeur d'Alene.
Let's start this half hour of Air 4 Adventures with a spot you probably know, the popular Tubbs Hill in Coeur d'Alene, like you've never seen it before.
It's amazing that it's just right here next to the city. I mean, you could come over here at lunch. The wife and I retired and we're doing a trip around the country, and Coeur d'Alene was our 4th of July stop. One thing that we liked about Tubbs Hills is it was dog friendly, and I always take my dog with me. Went down in the lower lakeside, there was these little coves in a couple different areas where you could walk down, and we enjoyed that. We went down and checked that out. It's beautiful. It really is, yeah. Yeah, the wife likes the white flowers that are all over the hills and stuff.
My family has a boat out here, so we would take the boat out and watch people jump cliffs. The main trail is pretty easy, and then for a challenge, we wanted to go up through the summit. So we got to spend time together, but also get good workout in and get to be close to the lake, which is a big part of our family and what we like to do together. Really pretty view. I grew up here. I go to school in Missoula now, so it was definitely, this is the first thing we did when we got back into town today. We are close to a big city, but you get to see really pretty views of the lake and get a good workout in, and you get to be just smack dab in the middle of nature.
If you're wondering how we get all these amazing shots, it's with the help of this little guy.
It's been more than a year since we added the Air 4 drone to our other technology. It's a DJI Inspire 2. It takes all these beautiful pictures and up to 4K video. It can fly at 60 miles an hour for as far as 3 miles, all in a little package that weighs about 8 pounds.
The view from Green Bluff is usually underneath the trees, and that's just fine when you're picking peaches, apples, and cherries.
But here's a treat for you. Green Bluff in all its beauty from above. Check it out.
Green Bluff is so much more than just the 6 weeks of our fall festival. You know, starting with bloom time is a gorgeous time to come out. And then all the different fruits that ripen throughout the season. There's something going on all summer long.
In the summer, I mean, we start our season off with picking strawberries. You can see the view here that we got going on. I mean, the seasons are always changing up here, and it's really, I mean, it's a great thing to get out of Spokane and come up to some of the farms.
You can come out here in our patio. We have nice shaded umbrellas, enjoy lunch and dinner, a glass of wine or something, and get away from the city and just enjoy the beauty of nature.
Families, they'll just come up. It's kind of like a little day trip. You know, you're going to get a tractor ride for whatever fruit we're picking for the kids.
Any place you're at up here, pull the car over and take a picture. It's just picture perfect everywhere. No matter, almost any place on Green Bluff, you have a great view of Mount Spokane.
If the lakes and rivers are your favorite part of the Inland Northwest, it's easy to understand why.
And there are so many beautiful places to choose from, and some lucky people actually get to make a living doing what they love on the water.
Right now, we're heading out to Long Lake on the Spokane River with a recent grad from Lewis and Clark High School who hopes to make fishing his full-time job.
Grew up fishing with my dad and always loved it. It's been a passion of mine. I love every aspect of it. Competition of the bass fishing, and then it's more of a mental game than physical, so anybody can do it. Fish are always changing, so it's never the same. You always got to adapt, and I love playing that game with them. I do a lot more tournaments nowadays. I fish for Spokane Bass Club, do a lot of opens around the state, and we travel a lot. There's a lot of big smallmouth in here, and One of those timing deals though, you gotta find them when they're schooled up. Time of year is the biggest factor, saying what the weather's like, so there is no real game plan. You kind of know what you're doing seasonally. Oh, it's beautiful around here. That's one of my favorite parts about being in Washington. All the scenery, you got so many different styles of lakes. You got residential lakes, Liberty Lake, Newman Lake, and then you got places like this where it's a lot of it's nature and it's real quiet out here.
Sometimes the water in our area is peaceful, and sometimes it really shows off its power.
Right now, we take you to far North Pend Oreille County and the impressive site of Boundary Dam.
We're at Boundary Dam by Medellin Falls in Pend Oreille County. Boundary was built in the 60s. It took 4 years to build. Started generating September the 1st of '67. The dam was put on here to provide hydroelectric power for the city of Seattle. Right now it's providing about 54% of the generation that city of Seattle has. Right now we're putting about 117,000 cubic feet per second, over the spillways and through the plant. The best view, I think, is by going up towards Canada to the border, and you come up to the Vista House up on the hill up there, and there's a nice little platform there. A great place to get a good view of the spill. The Vista House itself has some displays inside of it. Could tell a little bit about the history. Seasonal, it's open between Memorial Day and Labor Day. It is spectacular. A lot of power in that water.
Looking to get away from it all? You can without leaving our area.
But we have so many beautiful small towns in our neck of the woods. We'd like to introduce or reintroduce you to just one, Harrison, Idaho, on the southern end of Lake Coeur d'Alene.
Welcome to Harrison, Idaho. 5 miles away from forest access, and we got the lake here, and sportsman access down at the end of the lake, and river access.
We have the beautiful lake right here, the bike trail, amazing businesses.
We are known for our sunsets. We have some of the most beautiful sunsets you'll ever see in your lifetime. With the lake backdrop of the mountains, it's absolutely gorgeous.
We have the marina down below here. The docks are actually owned by Kootenai County. We have an RV park and a tent area all on the water, and it's just beautiful. We're on the lake. How is this not great? It's beautiful here.
Well, we are just getting started with our trips above and beyond the places you know and love.
You don't want to miss the Route of the Hiawatha from a bird's eye view. If you thought it was amazing on a bicycle, wait till you see it with wings.
Then up and away over the Palouse, the beauty of an almost 150-year-old family wheat farm.
We know how important agriculture is to the state of Washington. It brings in billions of dollars each year.
But beyond the money, there's the beauty. Check out this wheat farm on the Palouse that one family has called home for more than 140 years.
I'm a fifth generation farm boy. We've been doing this since 1875. I started when I was like 14, spotting trucks in the field, and then drove truck for quite a while, and then I started driving combine at 17. Went to college over at WSU, and then came back in 2002 and been doing it ever since. We're in the heart of the Palouse, and we harvest soft white wheat and garbanzo beans. My dad and I farm about 2,400 acres. The crops this year are average to above average. It's always beautiful this time of year down in here. It's always good to see people come down and watch what we're doing so they understand where their food comes from. You really can't beat this area. I mean, for beauty. I mean, when you get outside the cities, it's just nice to see openness, wildlife, the peace, the quiet. I've always been in love with it. Just to be out here and to live out here, there is no place like this on earth.
Let's not leave the Palouse just yet, because there's something else out here you just have to see.
It's the official state waterfall of Washington State. Check out the Palouse Falls.
When I came out here, he says, well, there's one place you got to go. And so this is how we ended up right here. It's absolutely spectacular. You come around the corner and all of a sudden it's shocking because you see all this flat land and then there's the waterfall. And it's hard to decide which direction to look at. It's a very humbling experience being here. You know, part of it is not only the natural things, but to read that people were actually here 10, 12,000 years ago. And you know, when you come to a place like this, you appreciate what we've been given, the legacy of this, and you just want to do everything you can to maintain and sustain it. No matter where you are or where you go, you know, this is just many levels. Just, I hate to use the word, it's trite, but it's awesome.
One of the best ways to see all the beauty around us in the Pacific Northwest is on two wheels.
Biking on the route of the Hiawatha can give you a view and an experience like no other in the world. Now, have a look at it from up above if you really want to be inspired.
Welcome to the Hiawatha. The Hiawatha is America's most scenic rails to trails conversion. You've got condensed into a 15-mile, mostly downhill path. You've got 7 sky-high trestles, 10 tunnels, 9 of the tunnels which you ride through. And the first one, which you see here, is the Taft Tunnel. It's 1.661 miles long, and it is dark. Some of the tunnels are curved, most of them are straight. Some of them are reinforced with cement, and others are just naturally left the way they were chipped out of the earth.
In St. Louis, we do a lot of bike riding on rails to trails, but let me just say, there's nothing like this there. It was terrific between the tunnels and the trestles. Wow. We rode this about 17 years ago, so not long after it opened. So we wanted to come back.
Well, I think some of the history is what I find really interesting, and the scenic beauty. So when you get up on top of Kelly Creek Trestle, which is the longest trestle, and it's also the highest at 230 feet up, you're able to look way up a valley and know that there was a mill at the far end. They built this railroad back in the day to harvest all the virgin timber that was here. This was known as the most beautiful section of railroad in the country when it was first established back in 1909.
Oh, it's just gorgeous.
Well, maybe you'd rather spend your time on the golf course instead of the bike trail.
There are plenty of places to satisfy that urge as well. Here's Kalispell Golf Course on a beautiful summer day.
Kalispell Golf and Country Club in North Spokane, just a premier setting for a phenomenal golf course. You get out onto this beautiful sanctuary with the beautiful little Spokane River running through it. You see all types of wildlife and So if your golf game is challenged, your sensories are challenged in, I think, in more of a magnificent way because of just the type of beauty that's out here. Golf is not always relaxing, it's not always fun. It's the greatest, most frustrating sport, but there's a sanctuary here. There's this stress relief that this particular course brings you when you get out onto it.
I'm looking for a course that I can play every day, that I never get tired of. It's my pastime, it's my release. I live for golf, I love it. The rough gets a little high, and that can kind of wear you down a little bit, but it's just a great golf course.
Everyone wants to come and talk about number 16, just because it's a elevated tee box. You actually drive, goes over the road that comes onto the property. For my money, 17 is the most beautiful hole here with 11 different tee boxes. It looks like it's so easy, and yet that's the hole that you walk away from knowing that the golf course got you back.
You just can't beat it. You'd think you'd died and gone to heaven playing here today. It's just gorgeous.
Beautiful and practical. Our next Air 4 adventure will introduce you to a local man who's making sure a piece of the past is turning into a treasure for the future.
Plus, it's the heart of the city. We'll follow the Spokane River through its gorgeous twists and turns.
Our Air 4 adventurers have introduced us to some pretty amazing people we get to call our neighbors.
Like an 87-year-old man whose love of windmills is something to see on the ranches and farms across eastern Washington from the ground and from the air.
I'm trying to enhance the beauty out here. It's already beautiful. But but I'm trying to maintain the kind of a cultural preservation of affinity, and importance of agriculture. Trying to preserve the memory of this farm. For the community, they know this farm as the Hockersmith Dairy Farm. Orville Hockersmith moved out here on this farm in 1949.
Well, today we were erecting a 14-foot antique windmill. I've put up quite a few windmills, but this is the first one this size. It's been almost 10 years. I started back when I was young. I was only, 75 or so. I always like doing something that's a little different. It just doesn't bother me. I love being up where I can see over everything, and well, I enjoy doing it. Everybody, I've put up quite a few of them, and the owners all say they're so beautiful just to watch them.
We love to show you new places around our area, but sometimes it's good to revisit the old classics as well.
When was the last time you visited the roaring Spokane Falls downtown? We're going to take you there right now on an adventure along the river.
We're really in a place where people move here and they love the river for the quality of life it brings. We know the Spokane River has been inhabited for many thousands of years. There have been continuously occupied villages of native people here for well over 8,000 years, fishing for the salmon that would come up through the river every year. Human beings love rivers, and they enjoy the services that rivers provide, whether that's a peaceful morning just gazing at the river, or whether that's fishing in it or turning a turbine. The river is absolutely powerful and to be respected. A lot of times the hazards are not obvious. Every year when the weather gets warm, People want to come out and get into the river and boat it, and many people don't have the skills to do that properly. You can see the river washing through the trees. If you get caught in that, it can be deadly. I think we're seeing in the 21st century really a new recognition that rivers are to be valued for their beauty and their aesthetic and all of the things that they bring us, and they really need to be taken care of and cleaned up.
Well, we're not slowing down now. In fact, we're hitting the gas.
Yeah, high above the State Line Speedway. Catch the action from the air. It'll have your heart racing. Ready to rev the show up a little? Let's see if our little drone can keep up with the speed demons at State Line.
We're bringing the Speedway into focus from up above.
This is our first time out this year. I mean, you know, after a long winter, everybody's excited to get back out and shake the cars down.
It's like just an adrenaline rush. I love it.
Welcome spring. We're ready. Well, it's a quarter-mile paved. You know, it's got a decent banking to it. It's a fun track.
In the limited car, you're only going to hit about probably 85 down the straightaway. You know, if you get in the super late car, you're going to be closer to 90, 95.
It's fast.
I don't have a speedometer, but I would say about 45, 50.
Everyone helps each other. Even if you have different kind of cars, you know, it's all the same kind of spirit. It's a nice venue. It's one of our favorite tracks to come to.
It's my favorite thing in the world. I love cars. I love driving.
It's a great family event center. I mean, you got to come out here, you know, bring the kids out Friday, Saturday night. State Line's going to be booming this year.
Well, we're out of time again, but thanks for coming along with us on another Air 4 adventure.
You can find new ones every week on Fridays on KXLY 4 News at 6. And if you have an idea for where our drone should go, shoot us a message at KXLY.com. We'd love to hear from you.
I'm Derek Dice. You can catch Robin Ants and me on Good Morning Northwest every weekday morning starting at 5 a.m. Until next time, we leave you the Duncan Garden at Manitou Park in Spokane like you've never seen it before.
Duncan Garden, Manitou Park. Very early 1900s. It used to not be this level. It used to be higher. They took a lot of soil out, and then it was called the Sunken Gardens, and eventually it was named in honor of the person who had a lot to do with the design of the garden, John Duncan. Modeled after formal European-style gardens, 2-acre symmetrical garden with 37,000 annuals in it. Oh, there's petunia, zinnia, begonias, geraniums, alyssum, you name it. A lot of people will use it as a place to come and get ideas for what to plant in their own yards. We always try to put in a few new cultivars that we haven't tried and that are new on the market so people can see them grown hopefully at their best. It's kind of iconic for the city of Spokane. There's not much like it in the Northwest. There are a lot of gardens and a lot of nice ones, but Manitou is kind of unique in its collection of gardens. Everybody who works here, they're really talented people, and I have to give them all the credit. Lots of things that you have to overcome to get the plants looking good, and our staff does a really fantastic job of it.